colon 423 get fame. That's 423 get fame. I would tell you to leave a message, but the truth is, I don't really care. I've had this hotline open for months, and not one of you jokers have what it takes to be famous like me. So leave a message if you want, but don't expect a call back. I've got way more important things to do than to waste my time on losers like Mascarita Sagrada and you all. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hey there, folks, and welcome back to Grave Consequences Podcast. I am Caleb B. That's where you can follow me on Twitter. Follow Greg at XMaserati. Of course, the recording date is August 5th, 2021. Unfortunately, I am still the COVID kid, but we're here to review Season 2, Episode 8 of Lucha Underground. The title is Life After Death. And Greg, how are we doing 30 seconds after we finished the last episode?
Doing pretty good. You can hear, I probably can hear my dog in the background. I'm not sure if they can, but she's just got back from being outside, so she's feeling pretty good and hot.
Yeah, man, that's good, man. Let her get that rest, you know? Good for her. Good for her. So the very first thing we see on this episode of Lucha Underground is Fenix in the back, and he is being confronted by Katrina. And, you know, she's like, it's no secret. I want your power because maybe your power could give me life again. So for those of you not paying attention to the vignettes, they're literally spelling it out for you. Katrina is undead. She is a spirit.
She is some kind of goddess of the undead. And I also wrote down, and like you just said, she spells it out for you. Like they just tell you flat out she wants his powers so she can be alive again.
Yeah.
And then she follows it up with, I wonder if I should have stayed loyal to you. Red flag statement of the millennium. I said it's such a red flag, it glows in the dark. Like if anyone ever tells you in real life, sometimes I think I should have been loyal to you. Like you can't get any more of a red flag because someone thinking they should have stayed loyal to you just tells you that they wanted something other than love from you.
Yeah.
I said it had ultraviolet shades of red on this flag.
Oh, that's really good, man. That's really good. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And by the way, this is foreshadowing the main event, which is, of course, Fenix turning in the Gift of the Gods to challenge Mil Muertes for the Lucha Underground Championship. Katrina gives Fenix one last kiss, as she says, and we'll see where things go from there. But our first match of the night, Jesse and the Rippers, of course, Ivelisse and Helico and Son of Havoc, challenging the Disciples of Death, or as I call them, Purple, Red, and White, for the Trios Championship. This is now or never. If Jesse and the Rippers lose, they must hit the open road and never return to the temple.
It's all on the line for them.
Yeah, and let me ask you, on first watch, you may not remember, on first watch, did you know that Jesse and the Rippers were going to win?
I figured they would win as soon as I heard the stipulation last week.
Yeah.
I didn't remember them winning. You're going to find out there's a lot I forgot about from... I mean, if you're a fan of the show and you listen, you know that my memory is completely... I mean, it's probably the worst thing about me. I don't remember things. I misremembered things, and they affected my opinion of certain people on the other show, the other season. So I'm keeping certain opinions to myself because this episode, not just that, but another thing that occurs on the show, it didn't make me change my mind, but I completely forgot. And I mean, this was a good match. I mean, the story they're telling, the Jesse and the Rippers, they had full unity for the first time. Their back was against the wall. It was do or die. And they did at least 2 to 3 triple team moves together. Like they did one thing where they kept running into the other adjacent corner, taking turns running into a different guy. I mean, the thing with the Three Stooges is that if you give them enough time, they regenerate, kind of like Fenix. So they went in here doing their best to just annihilate these guys.
Yeah, which, thank God. And that was the story of the match, was, you know, the Technicos got the advantage early on, but as long as they, lasted through the onslaught, which they did, the Rudos, they got control. And it was a lot of trouble for Evilise for quite some time.
Yeah, they had the Brutos had control for a little bit, but I mean, just the onslaught from the Technicos. Like, I mean, and Helico kept doing V triggers. They were calling them Shori knees. I think this is before Kenny was super over. It's like right before Bullet Club exploded. There was even
as Bullet Club exploded, like AJ Styles had just left for WWE and Kenny had just seen her and everything.
Yeah, it was right. It's like right at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Kenny hadn't won the G1 or anything.
No, I think AJ really just because AJ wasn't there for long. He was there for like a year.
Couple years, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the final spot was a buckle bomb by Angelico, followed up by shooting star press by Havoc, and I think we've even had criticisms of this, and this was a criticism that Ring of Honor had, where they would do all these high spots. And by the time they got to the match, the move that won the match was not the crescendo of the match. And to be realistic, the crescendo shouldn't always be the ending of a match, but this was like the highest point of the match. A buckle bomb into a shooting star press, like that's a clean win right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Big boy Matt Cross hit the shooting star press, and Helico got the win. And we have new Trios champions. The third ever Trios championship reign has begun.
And even though I have less of a problem with the Three Stooges, they are boring.
Yes, they're inherently they're boring by design.
They're boring. I think they're boring because they don't have enough Day of the Dead kind of aesthetics to them.
Okay.
Because that kind of I don't like the Fiend, but I like Bray Wyatt, right?
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to say is like you can have like an undead character and have it go well, and you can have it stink. I think they're just boring. I mean, they're the Crew should have been like losers and boring, but they're more interesting.
Yeah. No, you're right, and we'll talk about them later on in the episode.
We don't have to.
No, we'll mention them. After this match, we see Prince Puma training in the back, and he's, of course, harassed by Johnny Mundo, who, what room does he have to talk? I just saw you, a week ago, I saw you and your girlfriend lose basically a handicap match to Cage, but, whatever. Johnny says...
I love this segment, by the way, because Johnny just walks up to him like he's friends with him. He's like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, how you doing? He's got the glove. Here's the thing. Puma's throwing kicks and punches at the heavy bag. Mundo's got gloves on as well. He's not really doing anything. He's like shadow boxing. Johnny says oh yeah, training for Aztec Warfare, huh? He's like, yeah, I need to do that too. I'm not going to take it easy like I did last year. I'm not going to let that happen again. And guess what, buddy? When I win Aztec Warfare, it's back of the line for you, Mr. Giraffe Tight.
By the way, that.
Giraffe Tights, that was hilarious, dude.
I popped.
Yeah. Mundo leaves and Prince Puma punches through the heavy bag.
And they added in a tiger growling effect a few times.
That was cheesy.
I loved it, dude. Lucha Underground does do cheesy stuff, but I feel like because they're self-aware, it's good.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I'm just saying it is definitely cheesy. Let's not deny that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Pardon me. After that, we see Rey Mysterio talking to El Dragon Azteca Jr. and he pours him some tequila. And Azteca says, well, what's the occasion? And Rey says, hey, your training's done. And you got this envelope. And Rey also got an envelope. And they were both invited to Aztec Warfare next week.
How convenient.
So, yeah, contendership. For both of potential contendership for either of them. They just got to win Aztec Warfare. Next up, we see a bull rope match between Tejano and Chavo Guerrero. And Tejano comes out, Chavo comes out with the Crew. The Crew gets on the apron. Chavo orders them to attack Tejano. And the Crew, who are tired of getting their ass kicked by Tejano, are just like, screw this. And, they shake hands with each other and they walk off.
Well, they were
And
hired by Dario. Dario
yeah,
gave them their protection from Mexico for Chavo,
yeah,
and Dario's
Dario's
gone.
gone. Yeah.
Dude, I gotta say for this, I just wrote down we're still doing Chavo versus Tejano with double question marks, and I
Well,
just wrote down I went to the bathroom.
well, here's the thing. Okay, I feel like this was the end of it. It had to be because, and well, okay, one little small attention to detail I liked here is as Chavo was admonishing the crew, Tejano was like slowly reeling Chavo in,
Hmm.
not giving him like any slack on that rope. And Chavo turns around and the ass kicking just begins, and it just goes on for a few minutes, not too long. And of course, our boy gets the win, and Chavo Guerrero takes the L. Thank God.
This is a weird one, dude, because like I feel like I'm less down on Tejano this second watch, like watching
Yeah,
review. I feel like I like Tejano,
yeah.
but these feuds are not helping him.
No, you're right. You're not wrong.
Like I feel bad being critical of it, but it's just Chavo. He does nothing for me.
No,
Like
dude.
I'm actually upset he's in AEW. Like I hate to be so down on a person, but am I the asshole? Like I just I'd rather have Vampiro.
Yeah, no. Put that in the Reddit for sure. Am I the asshole? Um, no, you're not. You're not an asshole for that. Like Chavo Guerrero in 2015, just not, or 2016, especially. It's not it.
He's
It's
doing
like,
his best. He's trying to be a heel, but it's just I feel like there's been weeks of this not being a topic. So I felt like this was also kind of just shoved in here, like
yeah.
in a deaf spot. Like it's like,
I'm,
okay, well, maybe you should just not have done it.
I am going to look at the last time we saw Chavo Guerrero was on episode 5. So this has been 3. There's been 3 episodes since we've seen, or pardon me, 2 episodes between his last appearance, not 1.
And they haven't talked about it.
No, it's because it's a lower tier feud.
I think this one was this is one of those misses of a feuds that they had it all the time in season 1. That's just
Yeah.
like left over.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Because it's funny, yeah, this is a continuation of a season 1 feud. But I believe this is the bookend, thank God. And after this, we see Mil Muertes beat up the Disciples of Death for failing him. And Katrina says, hey, spare him. And, she says, well, or not. And Mil Muertes walks off. After that, we are again 375 miles from the temple. We hear Matanza still eating people in the desert. And yeah, when I say eating, I'm literally eating.
He's a hungry boy.
He is hungry.
Sports have a way of bringing us all together. And at Sleeper, we developed a fantasy platform designed to make leagues more fun and personal. Sleeper includes an integrated chat and every feature you could want for your NFL, NBA, and even esport leagues. Plus, it's completely free with no ads. See why millions have made Sleeper the fastest-growing fantasy platform. Download Sleeper on the App Store or Google Play today.
Hungry boy. Next up was our main event for the Lucha Underground Championship, a rivalry renewed. Mil Muertes defending the Lucha Underground Championship against Rey Fenix. If I could give a comparison, especially with the finish, I would say Brett versus Diesel from Survivor Series 1995.
We skipped a segment, actually.
What did we skip?
The reveal of Matanza.
Oh, did they show him?
Yes, Dario Cueto says, we're going back to the temple, takes off the key around his neck, and he opens the door and they show Matanza, show up. He's wearing a mechanic suit with the sleeves ripped off. And he has blood all over the chest. And he has a very Jason X style mask, or even if you've played Splatterhouse, or even know about it from like the late 80s, early 90s, I forget when. It's an old video game. They remade it for Xbox like 2016. Very much those vibes. He looks like a slasher monster from a slasher film.
Yeah. Sorry, you said Jason X. I couldn't help but think of Jason in space, and kind of chuckled to myself.
I think that's what I meant to say.
Either way, the same movie. But no, here's the thing. I am excited to see what Matanza does inside the temple. And, maybe we get a glimpse of that sometime in the near future.
Maybe.
What do you think of the main event, man?
I'm going to be 100% honest. I watched both these episodes back to back, and it's hard for me to watch a lot of wrestling in a row lately. I love wrestling. We're all wrestling nerds, but there's so much content out there. Like I'm behind on on a different promotion, and my courage wasn't up for this match. I just wasn't even really paying attention at first, but a testament to how good this match was, it sucked me in like halfway through. Like I really wasn't feeling it at first, not because it was a bad match, but just because I was just cooked. I was done.
No, and that's the thing. Mil Muertes in 2016 doesn't put on bad matches. I will say this. I saw King Muertes in Battle Riot 3, MLW's version of the Royal Rumble, or Aztec Warfare. Mm-hmm. And I was disappointed at what I was seeing. He is he's a big boy now.
Yeah, he's big here, but it's all muscle mostly. And
like he's bulky, whereas like he's kind of fat now.
He's getting older. I mean, this may have been his, I don't know. Mil is great. But people that don't know, he was Judas Messias in TNA, and that was awful. He was the Abaddon of TNA.
And what's funny is, he had the long hair as Judas Messias. He still had the long hair under the Mil Muertes mask. And we actually got to see that tonight.
That actually took me back. I was like, whoa, he has hair?
Yeah. Super long hair, dude. Like, his real name is Ricky Banderas. Like, he may look white, but he is Mexican as all get out.
His hair it came out like he was like a mad scientist that got electrocuted or something.
No, he's got luscious long hair, dude.
I mean, the Mil did like it was the greatest hits of Mil and Fenix, and Mil's ripping off Phoenix's mask as much as he can, but because the stories come full sequence, Fenix starts doing that to Mil, starts ripping his mask and revealing the human. What's his name? Pasquale.
We're cutting each other off. Pasquale Mendoza. Yes. Sir.
Yes. They show the human side of Mil, and maybe that's a weakness. But I mean, I really didn't write down. I've been trying not to go spot for spot because you really should see these matches. And this is a match, like I said, like if you ever like depressed and you watch a comedy and it's a comedy you love and it does nothing for you because you're not in the mood for it. But sometimes when you're not in the mood for something, it's so good that it brings it out of you. You start having a good time. That's what this was.
Yeah, no, I think you're right for sure. And I'm going to say this about the match. I think it was more physical than the Grave Consequences match they had.
It got really physical. It got pretty physical. I don't know which one would be more because, like I said, I was tuned out in the beginning a little bit, so I didn't catch all those points. One of the points that caught me was when Mil pushed him off the guardrail on the second floor into the audience, almost like when Darby was thrown into the audience by what's his name?
Ethan Page.
Ethan Page, yes. This match was crazy, considering it was just it was a no DQ match, right? But it was still wild. I mean, there was one part I think Mil botched. I think he was trying to do that thing where, Kurt Angle will run up and throw someone off the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
They kind of, I don't know if it was botched or something weird happened, but I think they turned it into a DDT. I mean, one of my favorite parts was when Will was smashing, I think he either powerbombed or he started smashing Phoenix's head on the wooden box. It's like this, on the announcement table where Vampiro sits, there's like this wooden box, like just made out of wood, like just plywood and just hard wood. Like, I don't know if you noticed that, but he started smashing his head into it.
God.
Yeah, it's like, there's no way it has any give.
Yeah. Dude, what a match, really. And what a moment, because, oh, by the way, at one point, Katrina gets so desperate that she gives Mil Muertes the kiss of death.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. Like, was it like, oh, she wanted to encourage Mil? Or was she trying to take even even if there's like a 0.00001% of humanity left in Mil Muertes, was she trying to take that away with the kiss? What was going on? And even that wasn't enough because Fenix rose from the ashes again. He was in flatliner position. He turned it into a cover. He bridged the cover. Fenix got the win, and Fenix became only the third ever Lucha Underground champion.
This is the moment I forgot. I completely forgot Fenix won the championship, so I was blown away. Like it was almost like it was the. Have you ever seen 50 First Dates?
Yes.
That's what this was. I was like the first time. This was almost like the first time me seeing it. I was, it popped me. I jumped out of my seat. I was like, "Holy shit, Fenix won!" Because it was a good finish. It wasn't like a cheap roll up. It was one of those like Jack Evans kind of pins or Zack Sabre Jr. type of pins. Like it was a I don't know what it's called, but it's like a bridging. It's I think it might actually be the Zack Sabre Jr. Bridging pin.
It may very well be, but it was what you would call a flash pin. Like I said, similar to the small package that Brett got Diesel with at Survivor Series 95, but still deserved. I would say it's no, yeah. It's not a cheap win because Fenix went through hell. Like you could see half of his face, and he's wearing a mask. So I mean,
and it wasn't a pin that you could just roll out of.
No.
Of the bridge.
Compromised Mil Muertes' position to a permanent end.
Yep.
It's something, but I'm damn proud to be in the temple.
Let's grade this before we forget.
Yeah, no, we don't forget on the second episode. It's the first one we forget on. By the way, that was a reference to John Cena's speech after Osama bin Laden got killed. I will send it to you if you forgot about it. It's
you already know I forgot about it.
It's really good. Folks, okay, yeah, let's give her a grade. We got Mil Muertes, we got Fenix, a new Lucha Underground champion. We had a bull rope match between Tejano and Chavo. We had a trios title rematch, now or never stipulation on there, and a couple of vignettes. Mysterio and El Dragon Azteca drinking tequila and opening envelopes. Prince Puma training a heavy bag, and Johnny Mundo being a dick, and Katrina kissing Fenix, which was hot. So, how would you grade this episode?
I'd give it an A just because Chavo and Tejano really was nothing. Here's the thing: you would have had an S-class show if you had the trios titles, Cage versus Taya, with a Johnny Mundo segment and a Nunchuck segment, and you finished it with Mil versus Fenix.
If you had all of that, you'd probably literally have the best episode of Lucha Underground so far. So far, easily. I mean, and that's the thing is like it's being realist. Like they can't really have S-class shows, but you want the grade there because you want to be able to recognize it, kind of like a 6-star. Like you want something that shows that something broke the scale. Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not going to scoff at an A effort, and that's what I'm giving this episode as an A, because A's are nothing to scoff at. You don't look a gift horse in the mouth, you don't tug on Superman's cape, and you don't piss in the wind. Okay. Unless you like it. Yeah, of course. And what you don't do is you do not skip the full set of Limp Bizkit at Lollapalooza if I send it to you. That's what you don't do. True. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, nobody wants to admit it, but Limp Bizkit still puts on a good show. Who said they didn't? Haters. Mm. Yeah. Haters that think like, oh, they're the reason Woodstock 99 was on fire. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, blame the promoters. Come on now. Oh God, people said that. It was that was the environment and the access to water and shit. Yeah. Hey, what was he dressed up as? Do you know? At the Lollapalooza thing? Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that was a gimmick thing because he's got a new track on their album. They've got a new track on the album called Dad Vibes. So I think that's kind of what they were going for. Something funny, something for people to laugh about, that sort of thing. Gotcha. All right. Like in on the joke. He's not out there just like, cool, looking like a dumbass and not realizing it, you know?
Yeah, I figured he was dressing up for, I mean, I knew he was dressing up for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. This episode of the Grave Consequences podcast brought to you by Limp Bizkit, chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. Folks, we are going to get out of here. Thank you for listening. Check out every other great show here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Of course, if you want to listen to all of those shows, search for the Social Suplex Podcast Network wherever you download your podcast. Rate, review, and follow on Apple Podcasts. If you want our solo feed, you can find that by searching for the Grave Consequences Podcast if you haven't already. And always remember that, sometimes if you're doing it all for the nookie, you might end up looking like a chump.
There are so many reasons not to skip breakfast. So many savory, mouth-watering, tasty, delicious beyond all belief reasons. Actually, that last one was pretty convincing. Stop by for a McDonald's breakfast. Mix and match a sausage biscuit, sausage McMuffin, sausage burrito, or hash browns, any two for just $2. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with combo meal.